Okay, life in rural Iowa. This is something that we are doing in rural Iowa that we were not doing when we lived in the city. So this is just a bowl full of meat, right? And with my pocket knife, and in the future there'll be videos about deer hunting, about just why that is so organic, why it is just an amazing way, I think, for a family to have protein. But one of the things about canning meat, you're like, man, is that something that like my grandparents did? And we're using a canner, a pressure canner. Like in 2020, 2021, this feels like old technology, but it's actually really amazing. And one of the things that's crazy, you can do this wherever you live. You could just do it for fun if you have a pressure canner. And who doesn't want to have a pressure canner, right? And if you have a pressure canner, what you can do is you can have this meat pretty easily be in a can like this, a jar like this, and be on a shelf for as long as you want it to be on the shelf, relatively speaking, right? Hopefully you'll get hungry enough that you'll eat it. But what's amazing on the shelf is, number one, you're not using any freezers, you're not using any electricity. If things are crazy with COVID and all that stuff, and just to know, like, I have meat that is on a shelf somewhere. And what is cool is sometimes when you buy meat too, you just don't know what's happened, like how's it been processed. So what you're gonna see, we're gonna can some meat here, is how pure it is, how at any time you can take it out last minute, you don't have to cook it. Last minute you can just warm it up, and it tastes delicious. It tastes like pulled pork. And so we had a huge storm go through rural Iowa, and the power was knocked out for some people for over a week. And a lot of people lost hundreds of dollars of meat that they had in their refrigerator and in their freezer. Just this simple thing that we're gonna do on this video would have saved people so much money too that they lost when their freezers went out. So here's how we do it. We have already taken some jars. I'm just guessing how many jars we're gonna use here. We've already taken some jars. I've cleaned them. You want everything to be clean. You want your hands to be clean. And then all that you do is you put the meat in the jar, okay? So this could be like a fun family thing, and you just, man, you just go for it. So I just, with my pocket knife, this is a deer that I was able to thankfully get with my bow and arrow last week. And so these are all just pieces of meat from that bow, or from the deer that we were able to get. And what you want to do is see how I got it in there, and then I'm not gonna like go crazy and push it really hard, but I kind of want it so there's just a little bit of room at the top, okay? So gosh, that filled up a lot. I might need to get some more jars. I think I might need to get one of you guys, we might have to take a little break and get some more jars, we'll see how far this goes, but we may be doing some like serious canning tonight. So what's cool too is on the deer, the fat doesn't taste good. So like, see, even here, there's like little piece of fat there. That ordinarily you'd wanna, if you're being like really careful, you'd wanna cut that off. There's nothing bad about it, but it just doesn't taste great. But when you can it, the fat goes kind of like the more gelatin type fat that you would be used to if you were doing like a roast in the crock pot. And so some of that fat is not too bad here. So gosh, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take like just a quick break, and I'm gonna go and magically get some more jars. So here we go, we're gonna get some more jars. Ready? All right, look at this, I got some more jars. And I already got sterilized, and it's kind of a cool deal to just know that this is gonna, the way that I'm anticipating, so we're a family of 5, 2 teenagers, this amount of meat will be enough meat to have like, kind of like pulled pork sandwiches or something like that, where you, no joke, can just take this right off the shelf, put it in a pan, add a little bit of some sauce if you want to. If you don't, it'll still taste really amazing. And that's about enough for dinner for one night. So I thought we were just gonna do a couple dinners here, but it's just multiplying. So let's see where this goes. I got a little jar. This is kind of a pro tip for if I start getting down to the bottom, I'll have kind of a little jar, which will be more of like lunch for a couple people if they're feeling that. So you can also, the meat, ooh, we got one on the ground, so that is for one of the dogs. Henry, go ahead, you can get it, buddy. All right, that is, this is helpful to have golden retrievers if they are available. They are happy assistance to any meat that may fall on the ground. So, okay, so I think we got 2 full ones. Let me see if maybe I can get this in here. See how far this goes. And this is this exact same kind of how I've cubed this stuff. This is the way that we would grind the meat too. So we'll have another video about that. But with that, I add 20% pork fat and run it through our grinder. And it is delicious. We served it to we had it for a family and I've served it to friends, and man, it is killer. Okay, so now we've got meat in the jars. I mean, what better way to spend the day than doing that? So I'm gonna wash my hands, and kind of the whole step of the way, you wanna really make sure everything's clean, the jars are clean, lids are clean, everything's sealed. All right, now we're gonna put just a little bit of pepper on the top. All this is kind of optional. Surprisingly, it's gonna be delicious either way, but this is just kind of getting just a little fancy. We're gonna go with just a little bit of onion, and in the past I've just not done the onion, and it's just gonna be a little experiment. It's not gonna, we're just gonna do just a little guy here. So we'll pop this out. I'm gonna do a little 4-way cut. And then, because you'll see that we're pressure cooking this, a little bit goes a long way. So we're just gonna kind of have a little surprise at the top for whoever opens this. We'll be like, oh look, a little onion. There we go. And guys, there's just something enjoyable too to know that you've participated in this process. I'm gonna just put a little bit of salt on the top here. This is just some pink Himalayan salt. And then, now what we're gonna do, so this is what's gonna blow your mind. This thing is gonna be full of liquid in like 90 minutes. And look what we're doing. We're not putting any liquid in here. So part of canning meat too is participating in a magic trick. So you will see what I mean. What happens, you're just like, how did that happen? It's like, I know, our grandparents got to experience it, and I just don't know how it happened. Once again, I'm gonna make sure that the top is totally clean. And you can use a rag. I like to just feel it, because sometimes even if you use a rag, you can't feel it. But you want to make sure that this and the top have like a really solid seal. So you don't want anything, but don't like crank it. Just give it a nice little tug. I'm putting it in here. There's nothing in here right now, and you'll see it's not on. Just placing it in there, okay? So here we go. I didn't put any onions in this guy. Put a couple in there. Make sure the salt and stuff is all clear. Shut this guy real quick. Put him in there. A key as you're placing them in here is don't let them touch each other. If the glass is touching each other, it's easier for them to explode. So, and we're going for a no explosion canning of meat. So, and I'm not meaning like explode, but you'll just open it and then you'll notice that your meat is just in with glass and not a good time. So this is a very, it might feel a little dangerous, but it's not. It's pretty dang awesome. So I right now have all 4 of these in here. They're not touching each other. And so now, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put a little bit of water in here. So I'm gonna get a little bit of water here. And what's gonna happen is there's a little bit of water in here, but what that's really doing is creating steam and pressure. And I'm just gonna pour it in the bottom. you nowhere close to filling it up. I'm gonna put a little bit more in there. Okay, so they're clean top, they're sealed, the meat's in the jars, I have water in here. The last step is to put on the lid, okay? So you use the arrows here. There's a little arrow there. It says go this way to close it, this way to open it. So we are going to close it. There's an arrow right here. So I line these arrows, and then I just do this, look. Boom. Okay, so it's sealed, it's closed. I'm gonna just slide this over a little bit, and now I'm just gonna start this. Typically you just like this. This is like a twofer video of how do you light a gas stove when the igniter on this thing isn't working. Just give it a quick one out here. Put it on. Can have it on high. Slide this on. Okay. So, look at that. I mean, it's easy. It's easy. And this is on the road to having a ton of meat in rural Iowa that has nothing to do with a refrigerator or a freezer. And so what we're gonna do is let this now build pressure up to 10 pounds of pressure. When it gets to 10 pounds of pressure, I'll kind of back this down a little bit, and then it'll even out, and then we'll have it do this for 90 minutes, okay? So basically what we're doing right now is waiting to the point where we can wait for 90 minutes, okay? And so we will just kind of do a little montage of video, a little dancing, and we will just wait until we get to 10. And then once we get to 10, we'll set the timer for 90. And then we will then be cooling down, and we will pick it up there. Okay, so we are here. We're just slightly above 10, so I have just turned this all the way down to low, okay? And so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna watch it because I might have to have it a little bit higher or something. But now what I'm wanting to do, and it probably took, let me see, it took about 10 minutes to get to this point, okay? And man, this is exciting times, okay? So we are about 10 minutes. It looks like that's a little on the low side. So what I'm gonna try and do, I'll find kind of the balance of heat that keeps it right at 10. Just kind of play with it a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect science here. Just play with it a little bit. But what I'm shooting for is I'm roughly planning on this being about 90 minutes. So, you know, you could just know like you're doing stuff. You're making like good progress, and you can kind of now like just go somewhere else and do stuff for 90 minutes and know, hey, I'm canning meat and I'm doing something else too. So here we are. I'm gonna turn up just a little bit. It looks like I'm falling a little low, but I'll check it a couple times, but I'll see you in 90 minutes. All right, it has been 90 minutes, and I probably have gotten up to adjust the temperature on here. I mean, this is like it's an active thing, waiting 90 minutes, because I've done this probably 80 times over the last 90 minutes. Just kind of I struggled to keep it at 10. So if you struggle to keep it at 10, that's okay. But what I aired on was the side of over 10 pounds of pressure. Now, here's where it can get a little crazy. My truck, the pounds of pressure, the PSI on my tire is 30 pounds per square inch of pressure. Here, this is around 10 to 15, so I would not want to just open this, because this lid would probably fly up, like it would be bad. So here's the next step. Ready? That's it. Turn it off. Turn the heat off. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait again. there's a lot of, this is good for the soul, I'm just letting you know, because there's a lot of just things are happening and you're just kind of hanging out. So now what we're gonna do is hang out, and here's what we're looking for. The gauge will go down to 0. Remember how we waited so long for this thing to pop up? That thing will go down, and what that will tell me is there isn't a lot of pressure in here anymore. Then I'll even like be able to push this down and kind of play with it, and that should let a lot of the steam come out of it. And once this is dropped, this is at 0, all that stuff, it's pretty much cool. It's cooled down, and then I can open it up, okay? So it's the like everything that we needed to happen has happened, and now I'm kind of like wanting to open it. Like I'm wanting to, like it's like I have the present, I know it's in there, I want to open it and see what it looked like, but first we need to wait for everything to cool down, so we'll be back. Okay, this is on 0, this guy has gone down. I actually took this guy off too, who was on here, and you gotta be really careful because the steam can shoot out, but I had an UV glove on and did that. So I'm a little nervous because I've been smelling a little bit of meat and I shouldn't smell that. So I'm nervous that maybe one of them cracked, which, you know, that might be part of it. So let's see what's going on here. I'm just gonna slowly open it here, okay? Open this up. Woo! Let that steam a little bit. Hold on a second, let me get the UV glove here. It's a little steamy. You know what I'm gonna do, in addition to the UV glove, I'm gonna do this. Okay. Come on, is this not more fun than just going to the grocery store? And now we're gonna hopefully have this. Here we go. In. All right. Gosh, look at this. No, I think we're good. So you can just see, gosh, it is like boiling hardcore. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna keep this open, and I'm just gonna leave this here for a while because here's what we're doing. I can see that these are raised up a little bit, and as this starts to cool even more and more, what it'll do is it'll make a really firm, tight seal, and then jars will cool down. But what you'll see how those are full of liquid? Can you see that? See how those are full of liquid? We put no liquid in there. No liquid in there. That's really crazy. It's really crazy how that works. Look at that, folks. Look at that. So we are going to, it is not over. I mean, the fun continues. So we're just gonna let this cool down. Okay, hey, real quick, when you take it out and you put it down here, a crucial thing you have to do is push on the top. It's crazy, I know, but you need to make sure that there's a perfect vacuum seal inside. This is what you don't want to hear. I'm going to practice on this, okay? This is what you don't want to hear. You hear that? What that means is it didn't seal properly, and it doesn't mean you throw it away. What it means is you have to put it in the refrigerator and eat it in the next few weeks, okay? But if you do this, and it is sealed, that means it is ready to go on the shelf for a long time. All right, so we let these things cool all night long, and I am actually, I could just grab this. I'm not going to though, because part of life in rural Iowa is an acquisition of knowledge over time of tools. So to like look at something and be like, what is that thing? And then over time you're like, oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. And then when I say something to kids, I'm like, hey guys, go get me the thingamajigger. They know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to introduce to you a thingamajigger that we are going to use in this moment, and it is this thing. You might have one in your home, your parents might have one, and you're like, what is that? This is the reason of this thing's existence is for this moment. So I feel like I have to use it because it's why we have it. And if I just grab it, then this thing is like sad. So, and typically you're using this because it's hot, you don't want to wait all night long, and you just want to go for it. But I'm going to go for it anyway. So here it is. It is the bottle puller outer. That's what this thing is, the bottle puller outer. So you just go straight down, and then you pull it outer. Squeeze the top, and look at this, folks. Now remember, we put no liquid in here at all. And it might not look like the most delicious thing in the world, but trust me, you have just canned meat, and it is going to taste like, and this is deer meat, and it is going to taste like pulled pork. So remember, we put 4 of them in here, and here's specimen number 2. Here's number 3. Remember, we didn't know exactly how far this was gonna go. It's pretty cool that it's all clear liquid. That is just liquid from the deer. Juicy goodness. So there we go. That is our canning meat. We'll put it downstairs into our pantry area. The dogs are happy that our canning meat process is done. And so, hey, feel free to subscribe. We have about 40 videos that we're planning to release once a week, and then we'll keep going from there. But also, leave in the comments videos that you'd like our family to do. Silas is on the video. Hannah's directing everything, and so just let us know what you want us to do, and we'll have some fun doing those. So, man, thank you so much for learning how to can meat.